Good afternoon. Happy Sunday to everybody up here in Northwest Florida. I hope you had a good day today, and I hope you were able to enjoy some of the pretty weather we had. It's turned a little gray this afternoon, a little bit later, but I have to say, around lunchtime, it was the nicest, prettiest day we've seen up here in quite some time. I hope you were able to get out in it. We're going to talk about a couple of things today, but I'd like to introduce you first to a very special guest. We have a new elephant. This was presented to me by Pat Futrell, long, very dear family friend and a client of ours, and she gave me this as a gift after watching several segments. And I would introduce him by name, but I do not have a name for this particular elephant. So if you have an idea, I would really like to hear about it. You can throw something on our Facebook page, or you can shoot me a text or an email or something. Got to have a name by the next episode here. But we now have an official mascot for the Eating the Elephant series here in Bay County and in Northwest Florida. I'm going to talk about several things today. Going to be a little bit short, I think, on our time. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is saving some money. One of the things you need to do is, a lot of people have new roofs. I think the majority probably of the folks watching this probably do have a new roof, and if not, you probably will be getting one very shortly. When you do get a new roof, one of the things you need to do is you need to make sure that you get an inspector or engineer, architect, someone like that, to complete what's known as a wind mitigation form. Wind mitigation form. By the way, I'm getting some ideas pushed through here. Pat, Bama is just never going to happen, not for a Seminole. And Donna, with all due respect, I think Michael is maybe a little bit too on the nose. We may see. Michael may have to work, but for those of you that had some ideas, please keep shooting them at me. But to go back to the issues of saving money, if you will have a wind mitigation inspection done on your new roof, chances are your insurance premium will go down. I know that's a little bit surprising because everyone expects your premium to go up. We've had this big storm. I'm telling you, that's probably not going to happen. As I think I've mentioned in previous episodes, we're going to see very, very modest rate increases for most people. I'm sure there will be outliers where there is someone somewhere who has their premium go up, but most people will see almost no effect from this hurricane. What you will see an effect from is your new roof. You will have new wind mitigation features if you've put on a better roof, maybe dimensional shingles, maybe you put a secondary water barrier down, you've re-nailed your decking more securely. If you get this wind mitigation inspection, particularly if your roof is older, say more than 10 or 15 years old, you will see substantial credits. When we did ours, the last time we had a roof put on, we saved about $400, and I've seen really big credits as high as $1,800 in savings. I think that's extreme, and I wouldn't expect that. But if you have any questions about the specifics of that or would like a copy of the form, give us a call or shoot me an email, trey@huttinsurance.com, and without comment or without soliciting any business or anything, I'll be glad to send you a copy of the form. Roofers have been helpful in completing this form in the past, particularly if they're certified building contractors. They're allowed to sign off on this form, but frankly they're too busy. We're not seeing a lot of folks do that right now, so you may need to get a third-party inspector to do that. But if you pay $75 or $100, maybe even $150 for an inspection like that, but you save $300 or $400 on your insurance, which you will then save every single year, it's certainly worth the time and effort to do it. And I would like to have a bit of a, well, we're going to go with, I guess, visual aid. We're going to talk about the project management triangle, and I want to talk about this for a particular reason. If you haven't seen this before, this is called the project management triangle, and it has several other names if you look at it online. The theory is you have good, fast, and cheap, and you can have any two of the things on this triangle when you want a project, say if you're putting a roof back on your home. For instance, if it's good, it's not going to be fast or cheap. You can get cheap and good, but it won't be fast. So in general, the idea has been that you can get two of these three. So if you wanted something fast and cheap, again, not going to be good. And if you want it good and fast, it is absolutely not going to be cheap. The problem I think we have here in the wake of Hurricane Michael, and my personal theory is, frankly, I think you only get one these days. If you get more than one, I think it's a bonus. But I think right now, if you look at it, if it's cheap, it's not going to be fast and it's not going to be good. If you get something good, it's neither going to be fast nor cheap. So I think we're in a very, very weird spot right now. And and I would like you to keep this kind of thing in mind. I would like to suggest that we are learning the difference also between price and value, and this is a good way to model it. If Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, long acknowledged genius in finance and in investing, he says price is what you pay and value is what you get. And so I think you have to be very, very careful about the person that shows up with the greatest story, with the lowest price. Chances are, if you will give this a little bit of thought, you'll realize that that may not be the best way to go. So keep in mind, project management triangle. And my thanks to Pat Saveston, who taught me how to write this backwards to make it show up properly on camera. I'd like to leave you with the final thing. I've said this before, and I think I'm going to try to end all of our segments with it because I think it is really that important, and it is the one thing that keeps coming up over and over and over again. And it is what I'm going to begin calling the 4 principles of your Hurricane Michael claim. Educate, advocate, escalate, mediate. The very first thing to do is what you're doing right now. You're educating yourself on the process. You're trying to understand how to take best advantage of the processes involved. The more you learn, the more you can effectively take step number 2, which is to advocate for yourself. When you know the facts and you can document those facts, it's much easier to sell your case and to talk to your adjuster knowledgeably and to push back when they say something or they come back at you with something that is either ill-informed or doesn't agree with what you need to have happen. This is still your claim. It is your home. It is your business. You need to make sure this goes your way. If that doesn't work, if even through your education and your calm, methodical advocacy, if those don't work, you get to step number 3, and that is to escalate. You need to ask for a supervisor's help. You need to ask for a claims manager's help. You need to ask if things can be reassigned if necessary. You always need to go up the food chain. I would always suggest, of course, that you call your agent and involve them in the process. A good agent will advocate for you. They will work on your behalf, and frankly, I think that's what you're paying them to do. If you have to call an 800 number every single time and you can't get any help locally, I think that's a mistake. One of the reasons that I advocate that people always go local whenever they can is, at least metaphorically speaking, if something goes wrong, you can get your hands around their throat. If one of my clients doesn't have something going well, they can come to my office, sit there across from my desk, and I think eyeball to eyeball advocacy is the most effective type. So that's step 3, escalate. If escalate doesn't work, you have your facts straight, you know what you're doing, you're well educated, you take a reasonable position, you take it to a supervisor, someone that supposedly is perhaps more knowledgeable than the frontline supervisor. Well, great, it's still not going your way. Well, what do you do then? If your agent hasn't been able to help you either, it's time to call the CFO's office in Tallahassee. And that number is very easily, I've given it out a million times, but it's easy to Google. The CFO's office in Tallahassee can mediate for you. They can intervene, of course, and they can explain to the company maybe where they're not doing their job correctly, but then they can mediate for you. They can actually sit down with a process, and they can put you and your insurance company at the same table, and they can work out the differences for you. I have to tell you, I'm something of a libertarian, and I'm not really a big fan of most government in most of its forms, but I will tell you that the people from the CFO's office that I have seen have been amazingly effective. Certainly there have been some exceptions where I don't know that they have done quite all they could do, but we have seen some very, very effective mediation and advocacy on behalf of very knowledgeable people. It is their job to work for you. And I won't say that it's free because it's prepaid. You pay for it with your tax dollars, so there is no additional charge for this mediation service. So again, we're going to come back to the 4 principles: educate, advocate, escalate, and mediate. And if you would, one more time, give some thought to a name. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll see you on Wednesday.